How was your holiday?
Good holidays, man. Yeah, the got to go down to the valley and enjoy some of that nice weather down there, and didn't wake up all hungover on New Year's Day. So I'm enjoying that. Good start to it. How about you?
All things considered, is pretty good.
Yeah.
Got to spend some time at home with my family, and it's cool. Got to play with the birds a little bit.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, since you've been working away from home for a while and you come back and you got some time down, you got any projects going on with them birds?
I just put them all up for breeding, so I got 2 pairs of babies right now.
Oh, that's
Two
cool.
pairs of roller babies.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. A couple of my birds in the house got the sniffles.
Yeah.
I got a medicine from Joe that is actually working really, really, really good.
What is that?
Kicks out of them real quick. So it's Baytril. It's freaking good.
Baytril?
Baytril with a B, boy.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the sniffles came from a Modena.
So, oh, really? Mascot?
Yeah. 3 days on it. She seems to be cool. Just the thing, I guess, is gonna have to go through wherever gets it.
Yeah, and that's a weird one, I mean, that little bit of sneezing every now and then, it's like, you don't know if that's... Oh, is it more than that?
No, so they go hachu when they're not feeling good. Or they honk, or they'll breathe with their mouth open. Stuff like that.
Okay.
But that sneeze, it's like spitting. I mean, it either comes out their nose or it comes out their butt.
Yeah.
That's how they get rid of the virus and bad bacteria and stuff and shit like that. We do too, to a certain degree. They're always shedding disease. They have a natural ability to do that in a regular kind of setting, one that's not overpopulated, blah blah blah. So
yeah.
I don't sweat the sneezing. It's the stuff that's unproductive or plugged up or something like that, because these little birds in here, they literally go hachu when they're not feeling good. It's a different kind of sneeze.
I was gonna say, yeah, if they're not right away, if they're not getting baths on a regular basis, like as indoor birds, then just that dander that they create, that's enough to get them to sneeze. Or like I smoke a cigar in my shop a lot, and I know that'll get them to sneeze sometimes too. All right, here's the soccer, football, whatever opener for the podcast. Hello and welcome to the All About Pigeons podcast. I'm Phil.
I'm Chris.
I think I could have carried that a few more notes, but time is precious. Well, we've been getting a lot of questions about different things, kind of actually all over the place. There's not really even a theme to these, but I took some of the ones we're going to be talking with, like Bob Nolan. We're going, he's a big guy in the pigeon world, and we're going to do a whole talk on conditioning with him, and we'll direct more conditioning questions towards him. We're bringing another person on for nutrition, so I kind of put those to the side, so we'll get to those questions, but we're going to wait till we get some real experts on there for those. But some of the questions I feel like you and I can field, I thought we could run through those. You want to give it a try?
Yeah.
All right. So one was a question that said, how long should you keep new birds inside after getting them? And this is not related to quarantine. This is just relating to like rehoming a new bird.
Okay. So like before you fly them?
Yeah, that's where I was like, it really, because rollers, you can get old rollers and resettle them. I mean, there's some racers that I wouldn't try that with,
So wait, what I say on the old rollers, That was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That was 2 weeks to the day I turned them out. And with a group that big, it was fairly easy because they flocked together for the most part, and they were all in the same shape, so they kind of flew together too. And
That's a big part of it too. That was a pretty
there
big
weren't
flock
very
too.
many losses. Yeah, so if you've got 2 or 3 birds and you turn them loose, they're gonna lose track of each other the first few times out. It's just inevitable because one of them's gonna track somewhere else, you know. But if you got like, it's a lot better if you've got an established, you know, stuff that you've settled there, because they know where they're going. And if they track, you know, in the same track all the time, the other birds seem to catch on a lot better too, you know.
Yeah. Monkey see, monkey do is really helpful when it comes to training birds.
Yeah, well, birds, they like flocks. That's why people use decoys for ducks and stuff like that. They go where the other birds are, and they're going to be more apt to stick around your place if they've got a bunch of buddies. So, like the rollers, I tried some at 3 days. I didn't lose them. I was pushing it, you know, but they also came off of a strict feeding schedule, and I did everything just like I thought it was supposed to be done. And I could have lost every one of them that I flew, but you know, I cage trained those. I took them out every time I flew my kit. I would set them on top of the kit box, and they would sit there and they would watch their buddies fly 3 days. Then every day that I had them out in the cage, I would trap them in just like the other ones, you know, trapping. And they were already trap trained too by the gentleman that gave them to me. So that was a lot easier than it should have been. Like now, like homers, man, I don't know. I've had some homers that get out, they want to come right back. And then I've had other homers that I've turned out, they made one lap and bounced. They never came back. I would definitely tape their wings or soap their wings or something like that. You can see all that stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, so when you tape, you're taking like the outside primaries, those 3 flights out there, and you just put some masking tape or scotch tape, or you can use like a hair tie even, and just so that way they can't fly too far and they kind of get grounded in that area.
Right.
I've never done the soap. I've done the tape before, but the soap is the same thing. It just limits their ability to just take off on you.
It's just like clipping their wings, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Only, you know, in theory, it doesn't damage the feather. So, but with the soap, you take it and you grease it up real good with that soap, and then you make that quill down to a point so that it doesn't have any feather to fly with, and it all sticks. You know, it's kind of like hairspray.
How long does that stay on the wing like that?
That's up for debate. You know, if you let them bathe, then it's going to come back if the bird's any good. But it could also wreck the feather too. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Some say it won't wreck the feather. I kind of, from what I see, it kind of does.
And there's always like, because I've picked up some older homers, some older white homers just for breeding for more whites. And, you know, I've been like, well, you know, they've had a couple of babies here. They've been here for like a year. And so then that's when I would start doing the taping and just seeing. But even then, I feel like it's still kind of a chance. But I mean, that's another thing too. They say, you know, if the bird can have, you know, another mate and breed, that it's more likely to rehome to that spot again.
With several racers to fly when I first got started, because I wanted, you know, I had a few babies, but not too many. And he gave me a recessive red and a couple of white birds that took a while to get well. There was a couple other ones, and I put them in the cage next to the window when I was out, you know, in observation or whatever.
Yeah.
And I always noticed they were looking out the windows. I took them out to the loft, and they were only in there for, I don't know, it feels like a very short time, maybe a week or so.
Okay.
And I chose to lose. The one headed west after one lap and never looked back. And the other one, it went out and sat on the power line all day. And when the sun went down, damn thing disappeared.
What about powders? Do you know, are powders kind of like rollers? Do you know about resettling and flying those? Because you've got some powders that you fly.
So I can't tell you for sure, but I know that they've got some Homer in them.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're gonna wanna stick around. But they fly, you know, 30, 40 miles for sure. They'll home. But the thing is if you've got a homing pigeon, if you've had it for 3 or 4 months at your house, it may take off and get lost and never make it back to where it came from. You know, so it's a kind of a chancy thing.
Yeah, and that's why I like starting off with getting young birds. You know, young birds that have never been flown. That's always kind of the best bet. Or that, like you said, the very best bet is to just breed your own and get those babies. Those babies will always come back, regardless of what you're flying with. You know, high flyer, roller, powder, whatever, Homer. You know, that's the bird's home.
These things breed so good. Once they get started, they breed so good. And it's kind of, you know, they're fun to raise. They're fun to do everything with. I think if you've got the birds to breed with, man, it doesn't take that long at all till you've got flyers. Yeah. Before you know it, you know, and it's all worth it. You get so much better behaving birds out of ones you've raised. You know, they come back better. That's their home. That's where they're born and raised. Yeah, that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, and they're more used to you also, which makes all the handling and everything easier too. Then the next question was a real simple one here. Well, maybe not. When is breeding season? And I guess that depends on where you are, right? I mean,
yeah, it depends on where you are for sure. Because right now we're breeding.
Because it's mostly a light thing, right? 14 hours to 16 hours of light is what they're looking for.
Well, yeah. So all birds, as far as I know, and most animals in nature, and even plants for that matter, require extended periods of light to reproduce. It's energy, you know. It tells our body to wake up and that kind of stuff. Like out here, we have no shortage of sunlight, but we have a shortage of daylight right now. Our days are short. I have the lights in the breeding loft. These guys are going, you know, full swing right now.
Okay.
I know my friend down south here, he's got birds on eggs right now too. We got plenty of sunshine, you know, but in other parts it's too cold. Like now, Garrett's saying that he won't start till March or April breeding.
Wow.
It's gonna be cold and creepy.
Yeah.
So I guess it just kind of depends. If you're breeding for racers, I want them suckers starting now. The older the bird, stronger the bird.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, you can get some young birds out pretty quick then.
Oh well, see, that's the thing. If I get eggs down in December, then I can ban them babies. You know, first of the year, bingo, bango.
Yeah.
That's what you really want, you know, if you're doing, especially if you're doing like competition kind of stuff. The older the bird, the better bird you're gonna have. You know, when it comes time for competition, I think so. Nothing ever looks good little. You know, you get your late hatches and stuff like that. If you bang those off for this year, next year comes around, well, that thing's supposed to be a yearling.
Yeah, and really, I think that, I mean, you know, unless you have a good loft setup where you're separating cocks and hens, and you know you're the one who's really in control of it, man. These just breed. They'll breed when they're ready. They'll just kind of do it on their own in that way. I mean, some of these open loft setups where they'll just breed all year.
And they will too. They'll breed when they're in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these breeders are better than others. you know. But some of, like that white pair you have, she was, you know, it seemed like whenever she felt like it wasn't just all the time, you know.
Yeah.
Strong, good flyers. You know, I think it just depends on where you're at. Are they inside or outside? Do they get enough light? For me, it's right now until they stop laying eggs.
Yeah, and I think most people, beginning of the year is, you know, because we're also, now the days are getting a little bit longer now in January, and you know, that definitely helps the light thing and the vitamin D and all that stuff. And
Pretty short days right now, aren't we? When does it? Yeah,
oh, the solstice was the 21, December 21, so that's already happened. So technically the
well,
days.
sweet. Yeah, so we'll get longer days now. I like that a lot.
So I wanted to ask you this.
And
We kind of talked about this on the phone earlier the other day, and so racing pigeons, roller pigeons, powders, high flyers, the fancy. What is your favorite? Why?
out of those,
Yeah. Or if there's some I missed too, I don't know. I mean, you know, because that's the thing. You know, we try to touch on everything, but everyone has their favorites, and everyone kind of has a mix or whatever. But I mean, because you kind of got a little bit of everything going on over there.
well, my favorites as far as ease of use, we'll say, have been the rollers, because I put, well, now let me clarify. I put a whole lot of work into putting together a pretty nice setup so that it was pretty easy to use. But at the same time, the rollers they don't require a lot of, I don't have to put a bunch of miles on my car to fly them. Once I get them trained, I keep them on a schedule, and they do pretty good. You know what I'm saying? It's a good backyard flyer situation. Those are my favorites to work with, because they don't take a lot of space. They don't require a lot of space. They're not aggressive compared to the Horseman powders are terribly aggressive. They beat each other up pretty bad. The high flyers, I don't know yet. I don't have any results on them. They're just birds right now. But you know, I really like the rollers. The homers, there's a lot of ways you can screw the homers up. You know, I mean, you can screw a roller up just as good, but I'm doing the best with them, and they're my favorite at this point. You? What you got?
I'm trying to keep it to 2 breeds right now. So I got my parlor rollers and I got racing homers. Whatever it is, I like birds that you can engage with, and you know, I like, my son does the Birmingham rollers, and I really enjoy watching them, especially if you got a good set of rollers. You know, you can see them really fall, and you know, they are a really fun bird to watch for sure. I like doing releases. The driving is a thing though. You know, like you're saying, you know, if you're really trying to do racing and stuff, which I'm not, there's no race club up here, and even if there was, I couldn't afford it. You know, so it's just an enjoyment thing. You know, I do white dove releases, and that's fun to do. And of course the parlor rollers, you know, because I go out to the park with them and let them go. So, you know, birds I can play with, so that's fun. I mean, I do really like the English magpies. I think eventually I'll get into that breed again for the fancy side of things and really try to focus on that. But that's down the road. There's a lot of breeds to go through, but you know, there's times when I just too many breeds at once. I couldn't really focus on any, and I'm really hoping for a good breeding season out of these parlor rollers this year. Yeah, we're gonna try to go up to that hurricane show, make it work this year. I hope it does. That'll be coming up in February, so that's not too far away. Represent the podcast, let people know we're here.
Are you still gonna give out Speedos with the logo on them, or how's that gonna work?
I just gotta find the right person to give them to when they come up, you know. No, yeah, we are gonna try to have some stickers or something like that. And I talked with Christian at Foul Play. He might have a table up there in Hurricane, so I might try to weasel in on one of his tables and throw some stuff up. So yeah, this is the time of the year where a lot of you know, the shows are going to be starting back up. You know, they got Here in the States, the National is going to be in Kentucky. That's going to be a big one. That's in February, I think. I mean, a lot of, people like, breeding season's getting started. So young birds are going to be coming out. People are going to be conditioning their birds for the shows and just that time of the year for it. I'm sure it's the same all over the world, really.
What kind of pigeons they got in Kentucky?
Oh, that's going to be like 2,000 birds, I think.
Really?
So yeah, they should have everything. That would be an awesome show to go to. Are they all inbred or what? Yeah, well, all pigeons are. Sorry. That was actually one of the other questions was, can you explain the genetics behind the tumbler and roller pigeons? And it's like, you could call it genetics. You could call it selective breeding to, simplify it even more. But I mean, they all, the fact that so many different breeds and shapes and styles come from that blue bar rock dove, they breed so fast and so much that, if we're looking for something, then I mean, it still goes on today. That's why some of the best Birmingham rollers are going to come from guys who compete with it, because they're going to be paying a lot of attention to the birds that roll the best and get the best and perform the best, according to that breed and what it's supposed to do. It's crazy. Like the parlor rollers, I'm on a couple of Facebook groups for those guys, and people are like, oh man, let me buy your culls. I want to buy your culls, just because there's not a lot of them. But at the same time, it's like, I get it. Like, maybe you can make some of those culls work, but they're culls. Like, I don't know. It's just, you should want to start off with something a little bit better if you can.
The fact of the matter is, every bird that you are buying from somebody is their cull. They're not selling you their best.
Yeah, that's truth right there. Anytime you go to a swap and sell or the for sale area at a show, you're buying their culls. You can find the breeder and ask to buy their champion and see what they say, but that's just how it works. I'm
not gonna sell my best birds. You're not gonna sell your best birds.
Right. Sorry.
It's not gonna happen. Anybody tells you that they are selling you their best birds, it's probably your best for a sales.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, yeah, or you're just getting fed something there.
Well, my friend's giving me some of his best rollers, they're not, he's not going to give me his best.
Yeah. But sometimes, I mean, if someone really does have really high quality birds, their culls are really good birds. I guess it does depend on where you're getting them and who you're getting them from, but
you can't breed them all and you can't feed them all.
Yeah. And yeah, sometimes somebody's cull bird is going to be a better bird than what you could buy at a show sometimes. I mean, it's kind of a crapshoot, but yeah, as a general rule, that's you're always buying culls. Well, there was a few more questions, but we can save those for another episode here. Like I said, I know that there were some other questions in there, but they were kind of towards conditioning and nutrition, and we're going to have people on here that are real experts in that, and we'll save those guests that we bring on. So we're not disregarding them. We definitely appreciate the questions. That's shoot questions at us. We'll try to find people that can give you good answers if we can't answer them ourselves, and keep them coming. You guys can just oregano oil. Oh yeah, you've been using that?
Yeah, man, I like it a lot.
Really?
As soon as I give it to them, they perk right up.
Can you tell the listeners what you're getting, how you're mixing it, and what specifically it's kind of helping you with?
Look up how to make oregano oil, and there are recipes. Mine is not exactly the same. The two main ingredients are oregano and olive oil. I was recommended to use a product that's I feel like it's kind of a high-end product. Very expensive stuff. It was $50 a quart. Looked into it, and it says it's oregano oil. Oh, okay, well, so I talked to another guy, and he's a big-time racer, and he doesn't vaccinate or any of that stuff unless he's racing them. He said he feeds them the same stuff, but he doesn't buy the pigeon grade, he buys human grade. So I looked that stuff up, and it was like $20 an ounce. So I just made my own. It's been working pretty good. But there's lots of recipes out there, and they're about all the same. And it's just how to make oregano oil.
I've definitely heard people say that's kind of like a cure-all too.
It's got medicinal purposes.
Yeah.
It used to be used as medicine back in the old times, Now we're on this Western medicine thing. I did away with it. Not a lot of information on it, but check it out. It's not bad for them at all.
How do you put it in their feed or their water?
I'm putting it on the feed.
Okay.
I just put it in the bowl and then I just shake the feed in and get it kind of coated,
Yeah.
But you can put it in the water too. The oil just that's the delivery agent. That's where it hangs out. If you just had straight oregano extract, it wouldn't be oil. I'll just tell you that. It wouldn't be very soluble either, probably.
Yeah. All right, well, we're definitely coming up on the clock here, so I'm going to wrap this thing up here and definitely keep the questions coming, you guys. You can just hit us up through Messenger on Facebook or put it right on the page, or actually through the different platforms that the podcast is on. You can email through those as well. So keep them coming. We'll try our best to find people that are experts in this. And yeah, we got Bob Nolan's coming on. I'm pretty excited about that. That was one of the guys when we first started doing this. I was like, man, Bob Nolan would be a great one to have on, and real happy to have him coming on because he's going to be just a wealth of information. I've read so many articles in the old American Pigeon journals that he's done, and he's written multiple books. He did the NPA 100-year anniversary book, and just a real knowledgeable, real nice guy. So he'll be coming on.
And there's trumpeters and show racers, ain't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's messed around with a lot of breeds, but yeah, trumpeters right now I think are one of his big ones. He just had a bunch in the pageant down there. I don't know. I haven't got the catalog. Is going to have all the results. I know that the NPA quarterly just came out and they have some of the results for who got like the top awards and stuff. But so we'll put that there on the Facebook too for you guys to throw some questions out to him. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye-bye.